Hi, or should I say,
こんにちは。
today we're going to talk about Japanese horror, and we're going to specify on yureis, or ghosts or spirits in Japanese, and how they hold such an important figure in Japanese culture. And finally, we're going to talk about how they're represented in Japanese films and horrors. So let's start directly. Japanese culture is heavily influenced by Shinto and Buddhism, both emphasizing the connection between the physical world and the spiritual world. So long story short, Japanese culture possesses a wide range of beliefs and myths. One of them is the idea that every human and object possesses a soul, named a reikon. These reikons live within the body till it's still alive. Nevertheless, it does not die when the body dies. It goes out of the body and they wait for a proper funeral or a ceremony to be accomplished to kind of move on to the afterlife and join their ancestors. What if the funeral doesn't happen? Because the body was never found, or a sudden death, or a suicide. So the spirits called Yūrei cannot transition peacefully to the afterlife, to their emotional state. Then what do? You may ask. Well, there's different types of ghosts and yureis, and I'm gonna mention a few of them for you. The onryo, these are vengeful spirits who are full of anger and seek for revenge, typically because they suffered injustice or betrayal in their life. Another type are the zashiki warashi. These are children spirits, and they would usually stay in the homes they used to live in or a specific area where they died young, and they would usually be mischievous but not very dangerous. The ubume is the ghost of a mother who died during childbirth, and these spirits would linger around their child because they're more concerned about them and they're not there to take care of them, so their spirits would do it for them in a ghost form. And these ghosts would usually be depicted as carrying a baby or seeking for one. And there's many other spirits and ghosts, and what they all have in common is that they would linger until their issues would be solved. And these spirits are not good or evil, but they're more shaped by the emotion that they carried during their life. But enough about the spirits who haven't transitioned peacefully to the afterlife. Let's talk about the ones who did. They do not disappear forever, but they would come back once a year to the Obon festival. The Obon festival takes place in the middle of August, so it's an event who commemorates the ancestors whose spirits are said to return to visit their relatives. So if spirits take such a big part in Japanese culture, how are they represented in media, like film, for example? Well, unlike the weird-looking ghosts in Ghostbusters, yureis have a human-looking form, and they're often depicted with very white, pale skin and long, dark hair covering their face. And as mentioned earlier, they would be represented with unresolved emotions. In Spirited Away, the animation film made by Miyazaki, we see spirits who do not look very human. It's more fantastical and it's not very traditional but we do have some resemblance. For example, when you take the character of No Face, we have this white face with the mask and the black ghostly veil. And in the bathhouse, the spirits are very diverse and all of them carry emotional burdens and have special needs tied to their identity. But if we take a more realistic representation of the yureis, we have Ju-on, the curse. So this film represents a more traditional look of yureis, and we notice it with this ghost, Kayako Saiki, with the very white pale skin and the dark long hair covering the face. We also have Toshio. We see it in how he's running around in the school and being more playful, symbolizing the innocence of the young spirit. And the film works in a very unique way because it's still a horror film, but it uses different rules of a horror, using less background sound and using daylight as well. So in these two films, we see the duality of these spirits and ghosts, where in Spirited Away, they use themes such as growth, environmental redemption in a fantastical setting, whereas Ju-on, the curse, portrays the yureis as more terrific and vengeful. So the Japanese use the richness of their culture to open up a whole new style, whether it's in the fantastical genre or the horror one. Thank you for listening. This is it for today's video. I hope you liked it. I hope that you take care of yourselves and your inner selves, because we never know what might happen.